Bonjour à une boum, page 92 à 97. Une boum. Jean-Marc has been invited to a party. He is trying to decide whether to bring Béatrice or Valérie. So he says, Dis, Béatrice, tu aimes danser? Oui, j'adore danser. Je danse très, très bien. Et toi, Valérie, tu danses bien? Non, je ne danse pas très bien. Est-ce que tu veux aller à une boum avec moi samedi? Oui, d'accord. Mais pourquoi est-ce que tu n'invites pas Béatrice? Elle adore danser. Oui, mais moi, je ne sais pas danser et je ne veux pas être ridicule. Écoute, entre copains, on n'est jamais ridicule. C'est vrai. Alors, je vous invite toutes les deux. Super! Compréhension. Vrai ou faux? Please say whether the following statements are true, c'est vrai, or false, c'est faux, in an email and send it to me. Thank you. Note culturelle. Une boum. On weekends, French teenagers like to go to parties that are organized at a friend's home. These informal parties have different names according to the age group of the participants. For students at a collège, a middle school, a party is sometimes known as une boum or une fête. For older students at a lycée or high school, it's called une soirée. Either way, it's all the words for a party, une boum, une fête, une soirée. At a boum, parents are usually around to help out and set up a buffet, which often features items contributed by the guests. Pizza and chips are very popular. There may also be homemade sandwiches or Chinese food. Preferred beverages are sodas or mineral waters. Most of the young people like to dance and listen to their favorite music. Some may get drawn into the latest video games. Others simply enjoy getting together to talk about the week's events. For everyone, it is a way to spend a relaxing evening with friends. So we're going to talk about les verbes en ER, le singulier. So we're going to talk about verbs that end with an ER ending. So the basic form of a verb is called the infinitive. The infinitive. Many French infinitives end in ER. Most of these verbs are conjugated like parler, to speak, and habiter, to live. Note the forms of the present tense of these verbs in the singular. Pay attention to their endings. So we have the infinitive parler or habiter. We're going to take off the ER, and you end up with a stem, parle and habite. Then we're going to add endings. For the je form, the ending is an E. Je parle français. J'habite à Paris. The ending is an E. For the tu form, tu parles anglais. Now notice it sounds the same, so it's still tu parles, but it ends with an ES. Tu habites à Boston. ES ending. For the il and the L, which are the same form, it's going to end with an E again. Il parle espagnol. Elle parle espagnol. Il habite à Madrid. Elle habite à Madrid. So the ending is still an E. Okay? So note, the present tense forms of ER verbs consist of two parts, the stem plus the ending. The stem plus the endings. The stem does not change. It is the infinitive minus the ER. So parler becomes parle, habiter becomes habite. The endings change with the subject. Je has an E ending, tu has an ES ending, and il or elle has an E ending. The above endings are silent, and je is going to become J apostrophe before a vowel sound, so je parle or j'habite. Learning about language tells us that verbs conjugated like parler and habiter follow a predictable pattern. They are called regular verbs. We learned the verb être. It doesn't follow a pattern. It is irregular. So now we're learning ones that are regular. So, curiosité. At the party, Olivier wants to learn more about Isabelle. She answers his questions affirmatively. Play both roles, so practice this. Tu parles anglais? Oui, je parle anglais. Tu parles espagnol? Oui, je parle espagnol, etc., etc. So be prepared to do this in class. Okay, so here's a list of verbs that end with ER that you already know. Chanter, danser, dîner, écouter, étudier, jouer, manger, nager, parler, regarder, téléphoner à, travailler, and voyager. So this is already learned vocabulary. These are kind of new. Aimer, which means to like. Habiter à, which means to live in a city. Inviter, which is to invite someone. Organiser, which means to organize. These last two are pretty obvious. And so is visiter, to visit a place. Now the verb regarder has two meanings, to look at and to watch. Paul regarde Cécile, Cécile regarde la télé. Note the construction téléphoner à. Cécile téléphone à Marc, whereas in English we don't have to say to, all right? And also the last thing, note the construction with regarder and écouter. Philippe regarde Alice. Philip looks at Alice. Now in English we do have to have the at. Next one. Alice écoute le professeur. Alice listens to the professor. So this too is part of the écoute. You dig? Fun, huh? Okay. So more practice. Describe what the following people are doing by completing the sentences with one of the verbs below to be logical. So if we look at the first one, we would say, je mange, M-A-N-G-E, une sandwich. Tu manges, M-A-N-G-E-S, une pizza. Cool? Or what? All right, exercises 3 and 4. We're also talking about what these people are doing and, again, what these people are doing. So practice those by yourself and know what to do. All right, now, les verbes en ER, le pluriel, the plural part. Dun, 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 dun. Note the plural forms of parler and habiter, paying attention to the endings. So once again, we have the infinitive, parler and habiter. Take off the ER and get the stem. Now let's look at these endings. The present tense of nous, the ending is ONS. So you have nous parlons français. Nous parlons français. Nous habitons à Québec. Nous habitons à Québec. So the ending for the nous form is ONS. The vous form, the ending is EZ. Vous parlez anglais. Vous parlez anglais. Vous habitez à Chicago. Vous habitez à Chicago. The ending is EZ. Elle parle espagnol. Elle parle espagnol. The ending is ENT, but the ENT is silent. Elle habite à Caracas. Elles habitent à Caracas. ENT ending. So in the present tense, the plural endings of ER verbs are ONS, EZ, ENT. I want you to note that il parle and il parle, plural, sound the same. Okay? Remember that the ENT ending is silent. Note the liaison when the verb begins with a vowel sound. Nous étudions, vous invitez, ils habitent, elles aiment. Observation. When the infinitive of the verb ends in GER, the new form adds an E to it. Nager becomes nous nageons. Manger becomes nous mangeons. And voyager becomes nous voyageons. Because if you don't put an E in there, the G would become hard, and that would be nago, which is not the same word, right? Got to have that E in there to make sure the G stays soft. All right, so to practice this, Elodie is speaking to or about her friends. Complete her sentences with either tu, elle, vous, or il, depending on the ending. Please practice that. All right, and this is where we're going to stop for the Edpuzzle portion of our presentation. Merci, au revoir.